How we getting on, folks? Look at another day and another abandoned meeting. Look at Downroyal. Obviously, look at it was just unfortunate. The fact that we were fairly confident and we were hoping for some serious amount of winners coming from Downroyal today, but look at it. It didn't really work out. It was just unfortunate enough. Now the fact that we had such hope going into the day and just the fact that a bit of frost post up to it basically was a bit of a nightmare really out of all experiences. But going on to tomorrow, Thurles, I honestly can't see how Thurles can't go on ahead now tomorrow, unless now there's a mighty freeze tonight, which I don't think there's scheduled. I'm not 100% sure now, but I'm nearly sure it's not. Doesn't certainly seem like it's going to be freezing tonight anyway. It seems to be mild enough, so hopefully, fingers crossed, the ground stays unfrozen and there's no frost tonight. It's definitely lined up for a fairly profitable day. Um, Obviously, look at Willie Mullins is a good string of horses coming here now tomorrow. It's certainly an interesting look, and there are some very, very talented horses in here in this mix. So, look at whether you want to go back in singly or doubles or trebles or lucky 15s, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to put a gun to your head, basically. Um, but look at there's two odds on horses in here. I think they're as good as certainties as you can possibly get. There isn't a horse or a mare in some of these cases that are going to be coming close to these horses here now tomorrow. So look at hopefully it'll turn out to be a fairly decent day. But first of all, the first race off the 12:15, Collereevy should be winning this, and she is a fairly nice price at 8 to 11. She's odds on, but she's a fairly nice priced odds on, if that makes any sense. Um, in the sense that she's still sort of some way backable at that sort of a price. Like she's just short of even money. Um, I can't see how this mare is going to be beaten tomorrow. She looks like the real deal. She should be well capable of putting these to the sword really and winning this by a fairly wide margin in my personal opinion. Like I think she is out of all the chasing mares in particular, she's definitely one of the best. But in terms of a chaser altogether between the Geldens as well, she's certainly well capable of holding her own. I think 8 to 11 is certainly well worth considering, and she should be very, very hard to beat. I don't think Mount Ida is quite as good enough to put it up to the Willie Mullins stronghold here, and she should start off Willie's Day fairly comfortably now tomorrow. 12:45 then. I'm going to be taking, well, not really taking a bit of a chance. I'm going to be putting me thought to the sword basically now and going with Allaho at 10 to 11. I honestly think that this horse is the class above, and it is the classiest horse of the meeting. Cheltenham, not runner up, but third place, was very unfortunate not to win in Cheltenham in the RSA there last year. But I just think that Alho is the class act, and 10 to 11 is a great price in my personal opinion. I think he should be touching 1 to 2, maybe even 9 or 4 to 9, even at some cases. But yeah, 10 to 11 certainly looks to be a nice price for him. I think he's definitely a strong enough sort for a double or a treble, whatever he like to do. But generally speaking, he is at a fairly backable price, and it is a great chance at as close as you can get to even money being odds on. Next race then, the 120. I'm going to stay away from odds ons here now, from now until the rest of the video. But I'm going to be going with Cuspa Carabelli, for the O'Brien setup with not Sean O'Keefe, Sean Flanagan on board, currently priced in around 10 to 1. This one here, look at it, it's generally a fairly consistent sort. It loves heavy ground. It should be well capable of this sort of mark. The favourite in here, actually, who is the favourite in here now off the top of my head? I can't really remember who it is. Oh, it's Enjoy Dallin for Kieran Murphy, who, look at it, is again another very consistent sort, but is just consistently, I suppose, frustrating. It's just the fact that it's not putting in the run that the stable are expecting of it. Um, Saying that, I still think it's going to be thereabouts to the finish. But in terms of overall quality, um, compared to price, I definitely think there's very little in it. I think Cuspa Carabelli might just have the slighter edge, and 10 to 1 certainly is well worth considering for an each way punt tomorrow. Moving on then to the 155. I will be personally going with Heather Rocco here, currently priced in around 3 to 1 for Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore. Look at it's undefeated, and it is definitely one of the hottest races of the day. There's three, four, maybe even five horses in here. I can't remember how many is lined up, but I think there's four lined up, and you could nearly make a case for all four of them really in some regard. I just think that there's more potential improvement coming from the Henry de Bromhead yard for this particular stable. Now, the top two in the market, they have been caught out on a couple of occasions, and they have been, I suppose, found wanting a little bit more. I just think that to write off Heather Rocco here, with Rachel Blackmore on board for an undefeated Henry de Bromhead sort, is very, very dangerous. That's one thing I will say about that. I think the fact that it was an easy winner last time out, but I think it was 13 or 14 lengths last time in Limerick and heavy ground. It's going to be well suited to track conditions. It's going to be well suited to the track itself, and it should be very, very hard to beat. I would actually go without saying that this is going to be my nap of the day for the YouTube tips. And I know that's probably a bit far-fetched, the fact that it is the hottest race in the card. But I just really like the look of this Heather Rocco. I just think that she is that little bit of a class above, and she should be well capable of polishing this field off. Moving on to the next race then. I've actually lost out on writing down the prices. The next race on the card, the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth race, that's going to be the patron tip of the day. So we're not going to be covering that. The sixth race on the card is going to be going with blanket on the ground here now for McNamara and Garroge Bruder. Currently priced in around 4 to 1. I know the last time I did put it up was 6 to 1 for the Thurles meeting that was abandoned, but I just think that, look, it's coming up against no grey areas, and I made the same case about it the last video. It's going to be a very much ding-dong battle between the two of them. I think, personally speaking, the fact that Blanket on the Ground has raced in Thurles before, actually come to think of it now, I'm not 100% sure whether No Grey Areas has run there before or not, but it ran a very considerable race the last time it ran in Thurles, when it was, I think, 5th behind Politesse for Lorna Fowler. That form stands out a country mile. Look at when you take it all into consideration, like Politesse had beaten Queensbrook. Politesse has put it up to the likes of Sky Ace, who is one of the leading fancies now in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. As well as that, look at the form of that race alone has just been backed up to the clouds, and it should be definitely thereabouts in the finish. I think that the style of racing that you see around Thurles is definitely going to be suiting Blanket on the Ground a little bit more so than No Grey Areas. I just think that providing that Blanket on the Ground got a better jump in Limerick last time out, I think it would have beaten No Grey Areas, and I just think it has that little bit of an edge, and it has that little bit of a pull in the weights as well. Now the fact that No Grey Areas has gone up as well, and the fact that Garroge Bruder takes off £5. Next race then, the 340. This one is going to be the each way fancy here. More than a memory here for Sam Curling, and Derek O'Connor, I think, is riding it. Currently priced in around 14 to 1. It was a very, very interesting 6th last time out on debut. It was well fancy that particular day. It didn't necessarily run a bad race. I think it's just got, I suppose, a little bit more improvement to do to match the caliber of Noble Yates. But then again, Noble Yates has been a little bit disappointing, and it just hasn't really outshone its odds, basically, and lived up to expectation. I think in an each way perspective that this or more than a memory has definitely got plenty of I think overall ability you could really say, and definitely scope for more improvement. So when you think about it, all things considered, it certainly got more advantages than disadvantages than going each way in this particular race tomorrow. Look at Noble Yates should be winning this race, doing backward handstands, but just the form that he's been in recently, I'm willing to go against him and probably take him on with a horse that's a bit better value and potential more improvement to come. 4:15 then, the next best of the day, the bumper here, the last race. We're going to be going with Churchtown Warrior at 6-4 for the name of the trainer escapes me, but I know Raymond Barron is riding it. I'll probably think of the name of the trainer now in a minute. But it was a very, very good second or third last time out in Punchestown, when behind Born Patriot, who is a fairly, well, certainly looks to be a fairly decent sort. Um, it stayed on from the clouds. This horse just really knuckled down and battled out a very good finish, and I think 6-4 is generally a decent enough price for him now tomorrow. I think that overall he has got plenty of scope for improvement, and he should come on leaps and bounds for that run. The fact that he was well supported before Thurles was cancelled last day as well, it just maybe to think that the win is coming shortly, and it should be certainly thereabouts in the finish, and it should give followers a great run for their money as well. But I'm going to leave it there for those who want to sign up to Patreon. I leave a link in the description below. Ryan Sharkey is after landing a very, very nice touch there at 11-4 there today, and I've just been a little bit unlucky with my ones. I've had 2 seconds, and I'm just waiting for the 7:10 to come on as well. So look at, hopefully things go better than expected, really, and hopefully racing goes ahead tomorrow. But yeah, like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below for the Patreon. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. The more, I suppose, the more subscribers I get, the more I feel appreciated for doing these tips. And as well as that, like, it helps me out an awful lot. The closer we get to 1,000 subscribers, the more I suppose we can start looking at getting more content out there and getting different interviews and things like that as well. Just different content, basically, more so than anything else. But I'm going to leave it there. If you're going to be having a bet tomorrow, the very best of luck, and I'll catch you again now, say this time tomorrow, for Goran Park. Thanks very much. Best of luck.